Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Paulo Sebi. In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at JavaScript BOM. Now, what is JavaScript BOM? JavaScript BOM is the browser object model, which simply allows us to access some JavaScript methods like the screen, the window screen, the location, the history, the navigator, then the timing functions, which are set interval and set timeout, and these are what we are going to be looking at in this tutorial. And in the timing function, we are going to be looking at the let me just load the page. How we can make something like a time like this with JavaScript timing function and stop time, start time, something like this. And this text was made bigger after 5 seconds. So I'm going to be explaining the timing function also, and window.history and window.history also. So if I should go to another page now and click on, let me just click on go back. As you can see, it has went back to the window.history. So I can also go forward. I can go back, go forward, go back, and I can also update the URL, but it may not work because I'm not running a server. So if I try to update it, it's going to give me an error because I'm not running a server. So it says DOM exception, the operation is not secured, but it has added something to the URL here. Okay, so that is what we are going to be looking at in this tutorial. We are going to be looking at the screen, the how to use the location, how to use the history, how to use the navigator, how to use the JavaScript set timeout and set interval. Before we go to the full tutorial, please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Please support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. And let's go to the full tutorial now. All right. So JavaScript window. JavaScript window is it is also called the browser object model. When I'm referring to browser object model, I mean the window. And when I'm referring to the window, I mean the browser object model. So all global functions, global variables, and global objects, they are under the JavaScript global window variable or JavaScript window. They are under JavaScript window, including documents. So I'm going to be explaining with the JavaScript with the console. I'm going to be explaining with the console, but the script, I'm going to be writing the script here. Okay, so let's just say console.log. Let's just log the JavaScript window to see, so that I'm going, just to explain more about JavaScript window. Okay, so this is the JavaScript window. As you can see, there are a lot of stuffs under it. Just ignore this that is there. It's because I have React DevTools installed. Okay, so if you check the prototype, you see some things there: constructor, name, window, and all the stuffs. Like all this stuff here. value of. But what I'm trying to pick out is window consists or encompasses all the global JavaScript function and global JavaScript variable, and all the global variables are also under window. So in simple words, window is just like a global object that consists of all the global, like the global variables and the global functions and the like the default global variables and the global functions. And the global functions are like methods under JavaScript window, and the global variables are like properties under JavaScript window objects. Okay, so let's do some things like the document also is also under JavaScript window. Okay, let's say window dot documents. Now if we log this now, we're going to see the window document. All right, so this is the document. Okay, so and we can let's just try to do something now. Let me say let me create a global variable. Let x equal to 30. Let's say 30. And in a function, let's say function greets. Okay, let's say x equal to hello world. Hello world. And I want to use x in this function. And okay, sorry, let me just do this. Instead of calling, I can call x directly, and I can also call window.x. And let's see if we get an error or not. Let's just reload. And okay, sorry, we forgot to call the function. Let's call the function greet. Let's call the function. Alright, it's saying undefined. Alright, so let's just now to achieve that, you can say window.x is equal to window.x is equal to hello world. And let's do that. Hello world. And another thing we can do is let's just say x ordinary x. Alright, as you can see, it still displays. Alright, instead of removing it totally, I'm just going to say I'll print x in the down and oops. Sorry. And x downward here. X. Oh. Okay. So let's go to the page. So window.x hello world. X also is hello world. So you can also create your own global variable by just saying window dot the name of the variable. It can be anything, not just x. It can be anything. Then set it to a value, and you can call it anywhere that you import this script. You can access the variable. So it's going to make it a global variable. And there are also other cool things that you can do with the window by just calling, like you can call window.close, like to close the window, and window.open, like to open a new window, maybe a new window or a new tab. You can use it to open a new window or a new tab, and so on. You can use it to resize the window and a lot of stuffs. And as we go on, you see more usefulness of the window global variable. All right, so let's talk about JavaScript Screen. JavaScript Screen objects or global objects is also a BOM or browser object model object. It's also under the window object, and it is used to get the screen information, the window screen information, like the screen width, the screen height, the pixel color, the color like color depth, and things like that. So let's just jump straight into the code. Okay, so I've created two files here, the index.js and the index.html. I'm just going to hide those. Oh, let me open the JavaScript file and include it here. Script src. Alright. So first of all, let's log the JavaScript, the screen. As I told you before, the window contains a lot of information uh, about the browser, and a lot of browser objects and browser methods, they are under the window global objects. And also the screen, also the browser screen object also is also under the window global object, but it can also be alone. It can also be alone as it is a global object. As we see, as I showed you in the previous tutorial, that you can any global variable that you declared with the window, you can use the variable without including the window prefix. So you can also write it like so. Let's go to the browser and just load the page. And before that, I'm going to be using the console. And let's just load the page. Alright, so this is the screen, the first one that I logged. So you can get a lot of information about the screen. So maybe you want to track the user's browser. Maybe you want to track the user's browser. You can use it to get the avail height. The avail height means the height of the browser minus this toolbar here, minus from here to here, minus the toolbar and the all the stuff, the title bar, everything, minus everything from here. The avail height width is from here down to the bottom here. Okay, so that's avail height, and avail width also is from here to here minus the scroll bar and whatever might be at the side here. So that's the avail width. That's for avail width. So, and the color depth is for the operating system. Color depth, and the orientation. The orientation is primary orientation. You can use this to check the the user's device orientation, right? And this one you can use it to you can just say screen dot orientation dot type and things like that. So you can just print out. Okay, just duplicate this dot width dot height. It has some attributes, or yeah, class attributes dot avail with avail height and things like that, and mouse orientation and mouse orientation. I think this is the mouse orientation, and you can also use it to get the angle, the orientation angle, and things like that. Maybe you want to create an augmented reality or virtual reality app, you can use this to create the app. So you can get the orientation dot angle, then orientation dot. You can also add events to the orientation that on change. You can listen to the on change event. You can set the orientation. You can set the orientation to lock type. You can get a lot of things. Maybe you want to create a game app. You can also use this kind of things to do it. Add event listener and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's just check that in the browser. Right, so these are all the values. Okay, so that is, you can do a lot of things more about with the JavaScript screen. I'm going to put a link in the description of this tutorial that you can use, to learn more about JavaScript window screen. Okay guys, so let's talk about the JavaScript window location. Alright, the window location is also an object, a global object that is also under the window global object. Alright, so it is used to get the the Windows location info, not Google Maps location, like the script location, the script name, the file name, the host name, the all the stuffs like that. So let's just jump right into the code and check it out. Okay, so and I have two files here, index.html and index.js. Okay, so and at the bottom here, I'm just going to include the JavaScript file. All right, and you can just do that. All right, so let's log the window dot location. Window location is also used for redirecting, to redirect pages and to set the location of pages, and to reload page. You can use it to reload page and things like that. So let's just check out most of the functionalities of windows of location, sorry, of window location. All right, so do this. Okay, so you can use it to do assign. This assign function, you can use it to direct the page to to another page, the hash, to get the Windows hash, but this doesn't have any hash. If you want to get the hash attribute in the URL, let's just say found 34 2. Oops. Okay, I can do this way. All right, so this is the hash. It has gotten the hash in the URL. It's mostly the window location is used to modify and deal with the URL current of the current tab or of the browser, whatever. Okay, so You can also use it to get the host name, but this doesn't have a host name. That's why it's empty. Hosts, the href, that's the href. You can set it and you can get it. If you set it, it's going to load. It's going to reload to the URL that you set it to. The origin, the path name, the port. You can use it to get port protocol. So the protocol is file protocol. If the protocol is HTTPS, it's going to do it. And all these are functions, like there are methods like reload method. You can use it to reload the page. Replace, if you use replace, like redirect, you can also use it to do redirect, or you can also use it to go to another page. This search is like searching for something inside the URL. Maybe you want to search for a regular expression or a string inside the URL, you can use this search. Okay, and to string and value of, all these are methods of the window location. Alright, so let's just do something. I'm just going to say location dot href equal to google.com. Okay, so if I reload the page now, it's going to direct to google.com. Oops, file not found. Oh, okay. I need to specify I need to add the HTTPS at the front, the protocol at the front. File not found. JavaScript location. Okay, let's say window dot location href. Alright, extension is not allowed, but just ignore that. Alright, so let's check other things that we can also do with the location. Or like, okay, I get. I thought I made a mistake before, but okay, so it's going to redirect to google.com now. So it's now redirecting to google.com. So it has redirected to google.com. So I set the window.location.href. So you can do it in many different ways. You can set it, you can get it, and you can also what is that? Okay, so JavaScript BOM, JavaScript application. Okay, let me just change that to index.html. Index.html. Okay, so we can try to do another thing by just saying which one should we use. Let's use replace. Let's use replace. Say, okay, no, assign. Let's use assign. That's the proper one for redirecting. Assign, because it's a method, so you're just going to pass in the URL that you want to redirect to. Okay, now it has redirected to google.com. Alright, that is that. So you can do a lot of things more about with the location. You can do like redirect, get windows host name and things like that. Just play with the window.location. I'm going to put the link in the URL that they are going to that you can that will take you to the resources that you can use to know more about window.location. Okay, so let's talk about JavaScript window history. Alright, what's the use of JavaScript window history? JavaScript window history is used to handle the history of the browser and of the web page. Like if you go to the next page, it handles. You can use it to get the like. You can use it to undo the history, like going back to the previous page and going forward to the to the forward page and something like that. You can also use it to manipulate the URL. So and we are going to be doing that in this video. All right, and I've set up some things here. I just set up the three files, another page, index.html and index.js, and I included the JavaScript file in the both of the index and another page.html. Okay, so I'm just going to hide that one. All right, so first of all, the history is also under the window global variable, window.history. History. All right, so we're just going to log the history and let's see what happens. The reason why the browser is reloading itself is because I set my VS Code to automatic reload. So automatic save. So it will save automatically. I just have to use the live server for this tutorial because I want to be updating the URL and it won't do it perfectly without a server. So that's the reason why I'm using a server. Okay, so this is the history. It doesn't have much thing to show you, but if you click on the prototype, you see a lot of things that you can use it to go back, forward. You can use it to go, like you can use this to set maybe go forward or go backward. Then length, three, push states. This push states, we are going to be using it to update the URL. I'm going to show you how you can use it to update your URL and replace states. Also, this push states and replace states, they are used to create like a single web application, something like that, that you have to be updating the URL and you have to be doing some manipulation to the URL by changing the URL, updating the URL, something like that. That's what these two methods, they are very useful in that aspect. All right, and the scroll restoration also auto states null and things like that. Okay, so let's just do some things. So I'm going to click on this link to go to the next page. So I've gotten to another page now. So I want to go back. So let me go back. So I'm going to give this a class name. A class name go back. Class name go back. So I'm going to say document dot query selector. So dot add event listener. Click, then function AVT. So I'm going to say history dot go dot I've forgotten dot back. History dot back. So I'm going to say, and it has automatically reloaded by itself, but I'm going to click it. So after I click it, it has come back to the home page, and also forward. Let's do for the forward. So I'm going to add an event, add the class name to this one, class equal to, oh, sorry, equal to go forward, go forward, go forward. And that I'm just going to copy this because I'm doing the same thing. Click, so I'm going to say go like forward, forward. Okay, so let it reload. So if I click on the go forward now, oops, think class name go forward. Okay, let me go the page. Add event listing now is no. Query selector. Oops. Okay, not to waste much of our time, let me just copy this class and put it here also. And this one also copy it and put it here so that it's going to be available in both of the files. Okay, now go forward. Now it has come back to the another page. It has come to the another page, which is the forward. If I click on back, it's going to go back to the stuff. Now we are going to be updating the URL also now. So if I click on update the URL, let's say class update URL. So we are going to be updating URL without reloading the page. So I'm just going to copy this also. But I'm going to be attaching a statement to this one. Or do it this way. So if you don't understand what I'm doing, I'm just checking for if document.query selector, if there is this element is in the page, attach this event to it. Else, don't do anything. So that's what I mean. That's what it's going to do. Okay, so I'm going to say history dot push state. And the first thing is data. What data are we going to pass? We are not passing anything, so that just set no. And the next one is like the strings. Let's just try to set something to it. Let's say you num, let's say 28, and that's not compulsory. You can just put an empty parenthesis there, and this is where it is compulsory. Then you are going to put the URL that you want to push to the current URL. Let's say post page. Okay, so now let's go to the browser and load the page again. So I'm going to, if I click on it, post page, I can see it has added post page to the browser. It has added post page to the URL of the browser. So if I click on it again, so it just added post page to the URL of the browser. So these are one of the lots of things that you can do with the JavaScript history. Okay, so I'm going to put a link in the description of this tutorial that you can use to learn more and know more about JavaScript history. Alright, so let's talk about JavaScript Browser Navigator. And this is one of my favorite parts of the window boom, because it is mostly used to track the visitors. You can use it to track the visitors to your website visitors, your website users. You can use it to track their device, the device of your website users. You can use it to track their device. You can use it to track different browsers. Okay, so I'm just going to open up the console and go to the code. All right, I just have two files here, HTML and JavaScript. Let me just include JavaScript. Okay, so you can use the navigator, JavaScript navigator, to let's just log it. So log window dot navigator, and you can also call it on its own. And if I load the page now, all right. So all right, as you can see, is displaying a lot of information about my operating system and about the browser. So you can use this to track the user, but be careful on the kind of put measure to the kind of info you get about the uh, about the user, so that you're not going to tamper the the European, something like the user law or something like that. So, and let's forget about that. Active VR display and app code name Mozilla, app name Netscape, app version 5.0 Windows, build ID, clipboard. You can also use to get the clipboard. Let me just copy this. Copy it and let's go to the page. If it's going to the clipboard, okay. The clipboard, it's a it's like a it's like a property that has method that you can use to undo, that you can use to work with the clipboard, like the write text and things like that. And do not track or specify geolocation. You can also use it to work with the geolocation. I really love the navigator object. It's one of my favorite parts of in the JavaScript window, the window navigator. You can use it to, because the Google map was built on this geolocation. It was built on the geolocation. You can use it to get the user's location, get user's boundary location, get things about, use it to build custom application. This geolocation, hardware currency, language, the language of the user, and the languages like the EN, US, and things like that. Let me just keep all these ones. The media devices, you can use it to build like a recorder, a video recorder. The media capability of my device, of the device that I'm using, or the device of the user. And these media devices, you can use it to build a custom video recorder, media session for the recorder session, and MIME types online. You can check if the user is online or not. If the user is not online, do some things. If the user is online, do some things. And OS CPU. Now this is my device info. It's saying that Windows NT, something like that. And at times the info that is displayed here is not always accurate. So don't always just depend on the info that the navigator is giving you around this aspect. And the platform Win32. Nope, I'm using Windows 64. Yeah, I'm using Win32. Alright, this one you can use it to get permissions from the user's device, the plugins, product, gecko, service worker. You can use this to build custom service workers, build customs app that has catch, that catches the page, and things like that. That's how powerful the navigator is. And the storage manager also, and user agent. This user agent contains a lot of info about the user's device. And the web driver also, the web driver, this I think this is like I think this is related to Python Selenium WebDriver. I think so, but I'm not so sure. If you think I'm right that this WebDriver is related to Python Selenium WebDriver, just put it in the comments. Put it in the comments if I'm right. Alright. And okay, these are a lot of things that you can do. You can use the window navigator to build a lot of custom app, a lot of custom apps, a lot of things with the browser. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this tutorial that you can use to learn more advanced about the browser navigator. Okay, so let's talk about JavaScript timing functions. They are functions that allow you to pause the code or allow the execution of code at a particular or specified time. So that is a JavaScript function. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining the timing function by I'm going to be creating a timer, and I'm going to be making this text more bigger at a particular set of time. Okay, now let's do that. Okay, so this is the code and this is the JavaScript file there. This is the JavaScript file there, and I'm just going to include the JavaScript file. Alright, so we've included the JavaScript file. So what we need to do is the two JavaScript global functions or methods for timing, for handling timing, are set timeout and the set interval. The set timeout is used to execute a code or a block of code after a particular set of time. Maybe you set it to, okay, this code executes after 5 seconds, or after 2 minutes, or after 1 minute, or after 3 seconds, or whatever. And set interval means you want to be executing this code at this particular interval, maybe at every 1 seconds execute this code, at this at every 1 second execute this code, at every 10 seconds execute this code. That's what set interval does. Now first of all, I'm just going to increase the font size of this text after a particular set after 5 seconds. Say okay, make bigger. Say okay, set timeout. Set timeout. This is how to create the set timeout. Just like set timeout, then you are going to pass in a function, or you can create a function inside it. So say function, just an anonymous function, then comma, then the second argument or parameter that you are going to pass in is the number of seconds that you want. Let's say 5 seconds, that's 5,000 seconds. I'm going to say document dot query selector dot style dot font size equal to, let's say, 250%. Now let's go to the page, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, an error occurred. Let me just bring up my console. See, set timeout is undefined. Set timeout. See, set timeout. I think I misspelled it. Let me just go to the page. Okay, so after 5 seconds, it's going to make this text bigger. Alright, it's now bigger after 5 seconds. Okay, now let's check out the time, the set. Let's check out the set interval. Now what the set interval does is it's going to be calling a function or executing a set of code inside a function at a particular interval. So let's say set interval. Okay, then the same way you're going to pass in the interval that you want. Let's say 2 seconds. Alright, so let's first log something in the console. Let's say I was logged after 2 seconds. Okay, so let's load the page, and 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. If you check this page, you see that this thing is increasing. Okay, so let's just try to implement something. Let me implement something. Let's say let's d equal to 0, and I'm going to be implementing it d. Okay, I'm just going to increment it by 1. Okay, so that I'm going to be printing the so 1, 2. So after 2 seconds, after 2 seconds, after 2 seconds, after 2 seconds. Okay. Alright. So you can use that to create a time. So let's just quickly create a time now. Let's create a time. And let's create a time, and I'm going to do that with, say, let's date equal to new date. Let's equal to date dot r. So date dot get r. Let minute equal to date dot get minute. Date dot get minute. Then let seconds equal to date dot get seconds. and the timer. I'm going to set the timer HTML, which is document dot query selector dot text content. Our plus, then plus minutes, then this might result into an error, but let's just make the template then plus and the second. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I want to be calling this after. Okay, let me reduce it back to 500 seconds. So text content, hour, minutes, seconds. Okay, so it's going to be setting the text content to the hour of the time, the minutes, and the seconds. Let me just go back and okay, okay. Why is it not changing? Supposed to be calling it every. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to move this into the set interval. So it's going to be doing the time, it's going to be showing the time. Okay. And you can also do the set timer and the start timer also. Okay. So let's attach event to the start timer and the end timer. Starts and second class equal to stop. Okay. So I'm going to be attaching events to the start timer. So document dot query selector start timer dot add event listener. Click. If I click on it, so I'm going to be returning a function. So I'm just going to use arrow function. Okay, and the set timeout, the set interval, we are going to be setting it to a variable so that we are going to be able to stop the interval equal to interval. And I'm going to be attaching an event to the stop timer. Okay, so document dot query selector dot add event listener. So I'm going to say clear timeout. So that's what we are going to use to clear the timeout, clear the interval of the timer, clear interval. Then we are going to pass in the ID of the interval, which is the variable that we created here. Okay, so let's start the timer and let's stop it. Let's start it. Let's stop it. And let's start again. Let's continue it. And there's something that we can do is let's check if the hour is less than 10. If it is less than 10, if it is less than 10, we are going to be adding 0 to the front of the hour. Then else, let's return this. So the same thing. This one. Alright. So it should be very very well okay now. So let's start the timer. Okay. And let's stop it. This is actually not a timer, it's a time, is a clock. So it's a clock. So, so this is what you can make with a JavaScript timing function. You can use it to do a stopwatch. You can use it to do a timer that maybe you set 5 minutes or 54, maybe an online exam you set like 60 minutes for the students, and after the 60 minutes has completed, you want to uh, end the exam stuff and things like that. Different things you can use it to do a lot of things. So I'm going to be putting a link, like two links in the adding two more links to the description on JavaScript timing functions. Okay, so this is the end of the tutorial. If you like this tutorial, just give it a thumb up and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel. It motivates me to do more, and support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Okay, see you in the next tutorial.